It's usually women doing a lot of the beadwork. Everyone always gets a little surprised or was like, oh, you did this. I was like, yeah, it's.
I've always just had such a deep love for it.
As a First Nations woman, I wear a lot of beaded jewelry, and most of the beaders I know are women. But as I've learned, there are more male beaders out there, and I wanted to find out more.
Kind of keep it interesting to the eye. Like there's gold right here, 24 karat gold beads.
So I met Gary God in his home in Regina. He's been beading for more than 30 years, but as a child, he only knew one male beader.
He was one of the first two-spirited men I've seen in my life as well. So I guess there was kind of a stigma attached to two-spirited people at that time. So a lot of guys didn't really want to get too close. But for some reason, his skill with the beading needle and the thread and all that stuff it caught my eye. But I was paying attention from a distance, yeah. And then when I eventually ended up with some of his beadwork, I really grew to appreciate the things that he carried.
I wanted to know why God started beading too. As it turns out, he didn't have the money to buy powwow regalia. So he decided to learn how to bead.
But leggings are something that I enjoy doing. They give you a large space and a large area to express yourself and to add and all kinds of bling. It's kind of in our nature to kind of outdo each other, that competitive nature of males. And maybe that's probably what pushes me as well. And kind of obsessive, OCD, kind of perfectionist.
As I've learned, the beading world welcomes different voices.
Sometimes I might not be able to articulate well how I'm feeling, but I know that I can express that through my art of beadwork. And so to me, that's special.
Jordy Arnstar is a two-spirit artist. He uses beading to advocate for causes he's passionate about.
That's the beautiful thing with any form of art, is that when you're through my creations, I can have a discussion with maybe a non-Indigenous person about like, well, why did you do a turtle? Because Turtle Island. Well, why lamb back? And we can talk about that.
Arnstar has always felt supported in his art, but says there are still misconceptions about who beads.
And when we see beauty, we associate beauty with femininity. So it's like a lot of people have this perception that if a man is to make beautiful earrings like this, then they're not manly. Or if they do, or they'll leave that to their woman or whatever. And it's just like that kind of thinking we have to remember, that's thinking that was ingrained in us.
Some male beaders take pride in smashing stereotypes.
This was one of the first crowns I made or I attempted.
Tom Benjo is a partner at a consulting firm. I was surprised to find out when he's not in the boardroom, he's beading. And he started when he was 9.
My aunt taught me how to bead and had me do a lot of the fill-in on some of the beadwork, so I got all the grunt work. Eventually, over time, I started to sort of my own style of beadwork and started playing around with designs, and but was able to really learn about the meaning when I started.
The heels and crowns he beads for his wife have other women flooding his inbox with requests. He also makes regalia for himself and for his children to wear at powwows.
You need to be able to tell a story, and the teaching in it is, when we dance powwow, we're given certain designs, we're given colors, and when we create our beadwork, when we dance, the creator sees us and he knows that's us because we're associated with those designs, that story. And so it's a way of showing who you are.
The beaders tell me there is no gender role in beading and no restrictions on making beautiful art. Louise McGeagle, CBC News, Regina.